For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
The EFF has again disrupted parliamentary proceedings, and they seem to be continuing with this approach. What is your view on this?
I think we've got to view this as a question that has got more than one layer, not just focused on the EFF. How it started, we know, is that the public protector made a report, and in the report she said that there were non-security related expenses on the president's homestead in Kandla, and she recommended that he must pay back a portion of that funding. And according to the courts, at the very least, it was necessary for the president to engage with that report of the public protector and to have cogent reasons, that is, fairly good reasons for disregarding the recommendations. Now, as we know, the president has not engaged at all with that report. He has got reports from the SIU, Department of Public Works, and most recently he's asked the police minister to make a recommendation. And the police minister, we know, came back saying that the president doesn't owe anything, and in fact more security expenses need to be incurred, although he's not specified what these will be. Now, people were very angry with this, but also the way Zuma has responded to this has been contemptuous. When he appeared in Parliament and he mocked people's pronunciation of Nkandla, he, in a sense, showed that he doesn't give a damn about this expenditure. And I think if it was possible to contain people's sense of being irate about this misuse of public funds, he did everything to ensure that that would not happen. Now, when the EFF disrupted proceedings again, we have to ask ourselves whether it has the same level of validity as last year. Because when they did it last year, they did it and they got a level of support from the other opposition parties. And from the point of view of public awareness, the slogan, "Pay back the money," became part of public discourse. So whatever we may think of the EFF, they did put into the public domain this hashtag, "Pay back the money." It was on Twitter, it's on various satires, it's everywhere. But what you have to ask yourselves is whether an approach that had a certain level of validity when done once in 2014 is valid as a permanent form of political activity. What it does is that it renders Parliament dysfunctional. Parliament cannot really function if, as happened last week, they disrupted proceedings and the proceedings had to be stopped. What is the goal of the EFF in doing this? Now, the EFF calls itself a revolutionary party. Now, if you look at all the great revolutionaries of our time, what was significant about being a revolutionary is not just that you're aggressive or you're violent or you're militaristic, but that you understand when it is necessary to do something and when it is necessary to change in order to achieve your goals. Now, the EFF seemed to me to be stuck in a particular groove, that is disrupting Parliament. And Parliament, We have to ask, what does it mean when they disrupt Parliament and Parliament can't meet? Certain reports can't be heard. Certain reports, apart from Nkandla, can't be interrogated. And information that is sought by the public can't be presented in Parliament. So it has a number of consequences for democracy, parliamentary democracy, which I think need to be factored into how we evaluate this. It's also a question of how the EFF sees itself. We know that the Zuma government is extremely militaristic, shoot to kill, bringing a machine gun, all these things. Now this seems to be mirrored by the way the EFF is approaching this question. Aggressive tactics, aggressive disruption, overriding the speaker, etc., etc. Personally, I don't think decorum must always be seen as the most important thing. But now, if this is a permanent thing, it becomes important. And also, it's symptomatic of a failure to have a range of strategies and tactics for addressing this problem. It also relates, I think, to the difference between the word popular and the word populist. If you complain about the diversion of funds meant to address the needs of the poor towards Nkandla, what you are raising is a popular issue, an issue that affects the masses as a whole. But when you use the rhetoric of the popular, in other words, pay back the money and disrupt proceedings, and you don't have a plan, you have the phrases of popular interests, but you don't have a plan for addressing these. That is populist. So my sense is that while many people enjoyed the disruption in the beginning, thought it was very funny and things like that, I think it should not be encouraged. But what it does do, it may be bursting the bubble about the EFF and its claims to being a revolutionary organization. Revolutionaries are not just people who break things down. Revolutionaries are also people who have a number of ways or develop changed ways of dealing with changed conditions. Clearly the EFF has not got that.
And I suppose the last question will be, where do we go from here?
Well, I think that other people, this question of the EFF and Parliament, I don't know how it's going to be addressed. But the most important thing for us as citizens is how will Nkandla be addressed. Clearly, the DA, other parties, and the public protector might well take this to court. And I think it may well be that the courts will resolve that this matter has to be addressed. It will take a long time. Maybe in the end Zuma will pay, maybe he will not be made to pay. But also it may be, and I think there are plans to have various demonstrations related to corruption, to the way public spending is incurred and so forth. That may be the route to go, but we don't yet really have a movement of people encompassing all those who are outraged by the type of malgovernance, corruption and lawlessness that we now have.
Thank you. That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about the EFF's long-term vision in Parliament.